extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by to roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, family, friends, and listeners all around this planet we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show. I am the one, the only Craig L. Hayes. At least as far as I know, I'm the only Craig L. Hayes out there. It is the 13th of April, 2025. And we're going to be going to another subject today. I did an earlier podcast, I don't know, this morning, about 10 o'clock. It's now somewhere about 2 o'clock here in the Northern Command in Enterprise, Utah. And I'll be heading back to the Southern Command next week to do interviews with a bunch of stagehands and other folks of interest down there in Las Vegas in Elvis Presley's dressing room at the Westgate Resort, Las Vegas. So anyways, that's next week. Let's talk about this week. This week, interesting stuff has been going on. This past week, actually Congress, I'm going to take back a little bit what I've been saying about Mike Johnson. It's like, where you been, buddy? What are you doing? How are you going to fix some of this stuff? Trump can't do it on his own. You stepped up to the plate along with a lot of the Republicans in the House of Representatives, minus a couple Democrat-leaning Republicans. And you got a budget kind of passed through, so you guys can finish it off in resolution. Hopefully in the next few weeks it'll all be wrapped up. And you guys will work on not sending us into debt anymore. You guys will try to stand true to low taxes or no taxes, even better. Small government, which Doge is helping out tremendously on that. So you guys just need to do your part. Donald Trump can't do it all. He can't carry the whole weight of the government on his shoulders and trying to fix it. You got to help. But you also helped out on passing through the House. It's going to go to the Senate, where it's likely it's going to have a hard time getting through because the Senate's filled with a bunch of anti-American Democrats that will not let it go past the filibuster, and they're going to use everything they can to end cloture. And, it's just they're going to do what they're going to do, and that is the SAVE Act. It's all about voting, which we need to talk about voting. And I wrote down a couple little notes today on voting. Yes, we have to make sure that the people that are voting are only, and Democrats, I know you hate this because you want everyone to vote, because that's why you brought 20 million people into this country illegally. You want everybody to vote, even though they will be doing so illegally. You want a permanent power base because you've lost the blacks. You've lost the Hispanics. They're here legally. The blacks are running from you guys. Asians are running from you. Women, still got a lot of them, but they're even running because of the disasters you guys did to their families through Joe Biden and his inflation. So, here's where we are now. It's going to require some ID. to be able to vote in any federal election. A lot of people say, well, that's just the federal. Well, yeah, it should be for any election. But let's get the federal lockdown so they can't keep on destroying this entire nation. You people who live in California, Washington, Oregon, Illinois, Minnesota, the entire Northeast, you guys all want to destroy your states? Do so. You keep voting in Democrats, you're going to destroy your state. And that's all you've been doing for the last 20, 30 years. Destroy your state. Fine, but leave the rest of the nation alone. You want to destroy the people who live there and destroy their lives? That's what y'all get for living in those states. But we got to stop you from going to Washington, D.C. and doing what you want to do to the entire nation. So, the SAVE Act, basically, you're going to have to show some ID. You're going to have to prove that you are here legally and you are a citizen and you are able to vote. How terrible. Isn't it amazing? Here's the amazing part. All of the Republicans, except for one or two, voted for this bill. Every single Democrat voted against it. Wait, or did one vote for it? Okay, one may have voted for it. I can't remember. Well, may have been a guy from Texas. Anyways, so basically 99.9% of your party voted against having to show ID. But that's typical of the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party hates America. You all sit there and talk about how much you love America, and then you do everything you can to destroy it. So I believe actions. I don't believe your words. You're all liars, and you're disgusting. So I can't stand any of you, and that's where I stand on that. So let's go through and talk about why we have to have such an important thing about voting. Voting, that is the people deciding what they want to do and which direction they want to go. You either have enough votes in your state to get a majority to help push along your belief system, or you run out of votes and you don't have enough, and so you have to take and try to work harder on the next election. That's what a democracy is about. We're not a democracy, we're a republic, but democracy requires you to vote, and the most people who win get to go, most votes get to send people back to their state legislatures, etc., and represent them. But let's not get a couple things confused here. The right to vote, as Democrats see it, the right to vote, which they think belongs to everybody, it does not. The right to vote does not mean you're voting for liberty. Quite often it's just the opposite. Quite often you vote for your own tyranny. And you know, and we can take it another step forward. California, the best example in the world. California used to be a fairly reddish and then a purple state. But once the Democrats got in control of the legislatures, the courts, everything else in the state as far as workers, unions, etc., they made it, changed all the rules, gerrymandered all the districts. They made sure that they could never be defeated again. They would even do it well. The top two vote getters in any primary now go for the general election. And in that state, usually it's two Democrats because Republicans don't have enough votes because of the gerrymandering and the shenanigans that they've put in. You know, they allow their people, if the first Tuesday of the month is the day to vote, they allow people to send in votes for 2 weeks after the polls have closed. What do you think that does? What do you think that by allowing them to start gathering votes and start processing ballots. And all of a sudden they see, oh, what the hell? We got this Republican guy who's been really popular. He's actually ahead by about 4,000 votes in this district. Well, we got 2 weeks. All right, you guys go out and start gathering people's votes. Start finding people to vote, get them to vote Democrat, and bring the votes back. Even though on the day of the election, the Republican had won. But somehow, and almost every single time, Democrats win because they are able to go, mysteriously find all these ballots and get them in within 2 weeks after the election. The courts have to be on board with this type of stuff. And in California, they're just as crazy as the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. They're just as left-wing radical as this Boasberg that we keep on hearing about in the news. They are radical, insane, hate America party and politicians. The judges are just as bad. Now, I say this about California so you can understand something. The state of Wisconsin had a Supreme Court. There was 8 people. So you always had to have either 5-3 verdicts either way, at minimum, to make something happen. Or a tie would go to, if there was a tied verdict on something in the Supreme Court, whatever the last court's, like their appellate court system, whatever that ruling was, that's where it stood. If they couldn't come to an agreement, they just left it there until some other time that it got brought back. Today, we find out in the last week or so that they have now, an election has been won by this far left radical woman. She's an insane lunatic leftist, as all Democrats are. And I'm calling all Democrats the same thing because you're not stopping these people from doing these things. Even if you don't believe in some of this stuff, what are you doing to stop it? It's kind of like being around a lot of cops. I have a really hard time with a lot of police because the bad ones do what they're doing in front of so-called good cops, and the good cops don't do anything. It's the same in your party. If you're not doing anything about the bad people and the bad politicians, you're just as bad. How hard is this to get it through you guys' thick heads on this stuff? I don't understand that part. But it is. Anywho, so what's going to happen within their Supreme Court? Oh, it's very simple. Now you're going to see a crap load of things coming out of the legislature, changing the districts, gerrymandering the districts, and their Supreme Court's going to sit there and approve every single one of them, as long as it favors the Democrats. Wisconsin will become a California, just like Minnesota is a California with Tampon Tim as their governor. This is a methodical process Democrats do to destroy every state in order to destroy this nation. Wisconsin turns and goes the other way. That's a swing state that's gone, that could be gone. It'll turn blue instead of being purple. And you people voted this in. You vote for your own tyranny. You vote for your own problems. And we see people doing it over and over again. And just because you have voting and you get together and you vote for a lot of representatives, that's how it works. We vote for representatives who have our belief system in. Does that guarantee liberty? Or does that at times, and more often than not, are you voting in tyranny? We see California doing things, you just vote for your own tyranny. And that's what they've done. So it's the same thing going on in all these other states that are turning blue. And then the Democrats create such a crap hole to live in with such tyranny and such disgusting stuff and high taxes, low education, crime all over the place, that people flee to get out of there. And they go to a red state. And then suddenly they get out of that tyranny that's been where they've been living in. It's a blue state because they've been voting for Democrats, and they get to a red state and they go, hey, I like some of the stuff we had back in my blue state of California or whatever state it is. I think we need to vote for things like that in this state because I want to destroy this state also. My stupidity, my arrogance, my Marxist beliefs, and my desire to destroy the entire nation need to be followed. And I want it to happen here too. And then after we've voted here for several years and we've destroyed this state, we'll move to another one and we'll do it too. You're called locusts. You destroy and devour anything that's free for tyranny because you want to destroy this nation. You hate America. The Democrat Party hates America. The Democrat Party hates, H-A-T-E-S, America. You want to fundamentally transform it into a socialist utopia. We're not going to let you. It's going to be stopped one way or another. And you keep doing it and then calling the other side, my side, who believes in the Constitution and conservatism, which conservatism is believing in the Constitution and wanting it followed. You call us the radicals. But your belief system of wanting to be a socialist nation, Marxist nation, all those things that you like to do because you hate this country, you call yourselves mainstream and progressive because you want the country to progress. Flat out lie. You're regressives. You want to go into dictatorships and tyranny because you Democrats hate America. And some of you rhinos are just as bad. So, what do we get? What do we get when Democrats take over completely? And they take over and they run everything and they get to stand around and be kumbaya with each other because we've taken over another state. Well, I don't know. How about we start with a couple cities? We'll go to the microcosm of a state. We'll go to the cities first. 30 of the biggest cities in the United States that have the highest crime are not all run by Democrats, believe it or not. 27 of them are. So 1 in 10 big cities that have high crime are run by Republicans. Now, how strong of Republicans are they? Are they Rudy Giuliani? Rudy Giuliani, the mayor of New York City, strong, who shut down the mob, who shut down crime, who put everybody in prison if they were committing crimes. I remember going there when Rudy was to New York, when Rudy was mayor. You could walk the streets at night and you felt safe. I don't think I'd go to New York right now or Chicago or any of these places during the daytime. You wouldn't feel safe. You're going to feel like you're going to get shot on the streets. 27 out of the 30 biggest cities are run by Democrats, and they are run right into the ground because the Democrats believe in, what do you want to call it, criminals' rights more than they believe in victim rights. They want to persecute and prosecute police for doing the job that they need to do. And my stance on police sometimes, I think a lot of them are real bad. And the good ones, I think you're bad too for not stopping the bad ones. But let's talk serious now. If your whole fundamental position, like the Democrat Party is defund the police, all you're saying is let the criminals go crazy and do whatever they want. And that's why you have the crime you have in your cities. You've brought it on yourself. You people in those cities voted for your own crime to be perpetuated upon you by criminals. You put district attorneys in there supported by George Soros and his Open Society foundations to take and destroy citizens' lives over the criminals. And we see it over and over again that these district attorneys and prosecutors are more worried about the hard life that a criminal has rather than the family that doesn't have a dad there anymore, or a brother or mom, because a criminal went and shot, raped, or beat the crap out of them and put them in the hospital. This is what you get when you're a Democrat. You vote for your own crime. So, if there was anything to tell you, a simple point to help you understand this any better, it's this one thing. And I wrote this down because I don't want to have it forgotten. I want to say it right. How you vote, who you vote for, how you vote, and who you vote for will determine the amount of crime and will determine the amount of tyranny you desire to live under. If you vote for Democrats as your mayor, as your governor, as your district attorneys, as your attorney generals, as your prosecutors, as your judges, and you fill all those positions with George Soros, Open Society Foundations, approved and funded individuals, you have voted for crime to be perpetuated upon you and to have tyranny from the government inflicted on you. The one thing I get tired of hearing about is these people in these cities whining about the crime in their cities, whining about all this stuff, but they're Democrats. You voted for this, so shut up. The only people that should be allowed to whine about this stuff and complain should be those who did not vote for them. So, voting is more than just finding a couple representatives. It's whether you're going to want liberty or tyranny, or safety or crime. And every time you vote for a Democrat, you get the tyranny and you get the crime. It's really not that hard to see. You are in the party, the Democrat Party, the party of slavery, segregation, the Ku Klux Klan, Jim Crow, all these things that they can destroy people's lives. That's the Democrat Party, and you keep voting for these people. I'm sorry, my black American friends and brothers and sisters, what is wrong with you? You're in the party that enslaved your ancestors, segregated your ancestors no more than 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago. Destroyed your families. This is the party you've joined? Why? Self-reflection. Come on, do some. Quit sitting there letting the boogeyman of the media, the puppet media, and party leaders tell you who you should be afraid of. Why don't you make that decision yourself? God gave you a brain. Use it. Because you'll find out something very simply. Once you use it and you start applying logic, reason, and rationale to these problems, you're going to say, what the crap was I thinking voting Democrat? I can almost guarantee that. So anyways, hopefully we had a interesting topic here to discuss for you on voting. Voting matters, but voting right matters more. Don't walk in there and just pull the handle on a D because it's a D. Don't pull the handle on an R just because it's an R. Think these things through, people. Your future, your children's future, your grandchildren's future will be determined by what you do as a voter. And we have to stop the illegals from voting. They should not be allowed anywhere near a voting booth until we've passed, some tests to make them citizens. How about if we pass an English test they have to pass before they get to become a citizen? How about before they become a citizen, it's a history on true history about what the United States is about. You know, it might require you learning some very uncomfortable things about this nation. And Democrats would hate it because once you start learning the truth about this nation, you're going to realize just how bad the Democrat Party really is. But how about that? Get rid of all languages. You have to learn English. You have to speak English. You have to pass an English test, and you have to pass a history test to be able to vote in this nation. That is not voter suppression. That's knowing who we are. That's knowing our history, and that's knowing that you have to have a common language if you're going to have a common goal of a nation. All other nations around the world, they have one language in their place. They can speak others, but they have one language that is their official language. Somehow America, we just can't figure that one out because we don't want to offend anything or anybody. I want to offend everybody I can that can't speak English. Learn the damn language or get the hell out. It's that simple. So anyhow, lots that we can keep talking about, and I probably have worn my welcome out with a lot of you. If I have, oh well. There's always someone else that will preach to you what you want to hear. Just not me, because I preach or teach the things that I believe in. And that's being in America. America. Anyhow, that is this show. And we're going to continue on with another one maybe in a little bit here. And we're going to have a discussion on just what, I don't know what the next one's going to be. I got to go look that one up. Anyhow, Talbot, take it away.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.